Hey guys, what's going on? This is Brad from the Ad Army, and as you can tell, it's time once again for What's the Scoop as Sakuyamon makes its way on to What's the Scoop, focusing on its support from BT17, as we'll be looking at the brand new cards coming out of that set, as BT17's release here in the NA, or in America, as people like to say, is coming closer and closer. It's not here yet, but it'll be here sooner than later, so obviously I want to cover these cards as we get closer to finishing most of the more important archetypes in the set, as I do think this is one of the more unique ones getting support. And as always, remember, we are on the surge to 250 subs. We are very close at the time of recording. We are at about 233, I believe, and we are on our way to that 250 mark. We'll want to push over that, obviously, but when we hit 250, it will be a celebration as we get closer and closer to that. But before anything else, remember that when you watch What's the Scoop, remember, you get a first look, and so do I. And also, one thing I just wanted to reiterate to people is that you also get to look back on the sets once the sets have already come out, and maybe you're looking for the cards in the set or trying to see what they do and try to understand maybe what the line did from that specific set. You can just look at these videos and remember that these are what they do. So obviously, let's jump straight to it, as today we actually have a smaller lineup, but a decent lineup still of brand new cards, starting with a level 3 line all the way to level 6, and also a brand new tamer to go along with this support, as I do think it's time for Sakuyamon to get a little bit of a revamp, as I don't think it hasn't been revisited since, I think, BT11. I could be wrong. EX4 support does count, but I do think BT11 was the last time we saw the big support with like maid mode. So here we go, as we jump straight into the new support, starting off with a brand new Renamon. We have a new level 3, obviously, for the line, focusing on the generic setup, as there's a 3 to play cost. Digivolve on top of any yellow egg for 0. With 1000 DP, and reads as follows. So on play, you can reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You get to add 1 Digimon card with Cubimon, Taomon, or Sakuyamon in its name, and 1 RIKA no Naka, or 1 option card with a 2 cost or more among them to the hand, and you return obviously the rest to the deck bottom. And its inheritable is your turn once per turn when you use an option card with a cost of 2 or more. One of your opponent's Digimon gains security attack -1 until the end of their turn. So really good. Moving into the brand new Cubimon for the line, we have obviously a level 4 with a hard play cost of 5 with 5000 DP. Can Digivolve on top of any yellow level 3 for a cost of 2. And it is a level 4. So let's jump straight to it. So when Digivolving, if you don't have RIKA no Naka in play, you may play 1 RIKA no Naka from your hand without paying the cost. For its inheritable, your turn, once per turn, when you use an option card with a cost of 2 or more, one of your opponent's Digimon gains security attack -1 until the end of their turn. Moving into the brand new level 5 for the line, we have Taomon, as Taomon returns with a play cost of 7 with 7000 DP with a play cost or a Digi-Evolution cost of 3 on top of any yellow level 4, as reads as follows. So starting off, it carries Barrier, and then when Digivolving, you may use 1 option card that has plugin in its traits, or in its name, sorry, or is yellow from your hand with a play cost reduced by 2. And then finally, for its inheritable, when attacking once per turn, if this Digimon has Sakuyamon in its name, you may use 1 option card that has plugin in its name or is yellow from your hand with the cost reduced by 2. So very, very good. Moving into the brand new level 6, we have a brand new Sakuyamon here with a play cost of 11,000 DP, and can Digivolve on top of any yellow level 5 for a cost of 3. So starting off, this does have special evolution conditions so that it can Digivolve on top of Sakuyamon maid mode for a cost of 1. It also carries Barrier, and then when Digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon gets -6000 DP for the turn. Then from your hand, and without paying the cost, you may use 1 5 cost or lower option card that has plugin in its name or is yellow. Your turn, once per turn, when you use an option card with a cost of 2 or more until the end of your opponent's turn. Their effects can't return this Digimon to the hand or deck. As we move on, we have a brand new RIKA for the deck. This is actually, I think, the second RIKA we've received, as this one is a 3 cost to play. and is very similar to many tamers, where at the start of your main phase, if your opponent has Digimon, you gain 1 memory, and then for its main effect, by placing this tamer and 1 Cubimon and 1 Talmon from your trash as one of your Renamon's bottom Digi-Evolution cards, that Digimon may Digivolve into Sakuyamon in the hand for a Digi-Evolution cost of 4, ignoring its Digi-Evolution requirements. If this effect Digivolved, you may return 1 option card from your trash to the hand. So very, very good. And that finishes our brand new line in Tamer for BT17. Now we obviously get into the part that most people probably want to hear, is what can you do with the new line of support? So actually for this line of support, the great thing about it is that it does add some more layers to the deck, as one of the problems that the EX4 support introduced to Renamon or Sakuyamon as a deck was that it still felt very incomplete, very missing some pieces, and it's not necessarily because of the inability to search. It had searching capability in the form of the EX2 Renamon and the power of the EX4 Renamon, which both allowed you searching power. But with this new Renamon, you now have an additional searcher that also grabs you RIKA. That was a problem before with the deck, is it really didn't have a way to use tamers efficiently. Now it has better ways to do that by having the Cubimon that can just simply play RIKA out if you don't have it, so you don't have to worry about not having a memory setter or a tamer that can at least give you some memory. Also, additionally, some of the benefits that we have now is that all of this line, with maybe the exception of Sakuyamon, but it's up to you if you want to play it, has some importance in the deck just because it gives you more names, as one of the issues we were having with this deck was the names and the choices you had, as Cubimon from EX2, although be it, and the one from the BT, I think it's BT5, yeah, all the way from Battle of Omni. Those Cubimons did see some play, but you mostly played them because their name was Cubimon, not because they added to the deck. This Cubimon adds to the deck, as well as just allows you to get more plays off. So it's really hard to not want to play this because it just sets up so much. As more level 4s are ending up being the, I'm going to play my Tamer from my archetype. Also with the level 5s, I think this is great because of the Taumons. I think Doumon was the one that really, in my opinion, kind of stole the show from all the Taumons just because it was really good. But I think this Taumon really does allow the deck some flexibility here, where it's able to use option cards that are either plugins or just, generic yellow option cards immediately from its reduced play cost to just allow you to maybe do something against your opponent before you get into your level 6. So that is important. I do think that as much as I like the fact that Sakuyamon's here, and it's actually pretty decent, there are a few issues I have with it, specifically just for the support to the deck. And it's more so on the fact that, although I love the fact that minus is DP, it can use the play cost of 5 or less, or the plugins for free. One of the problems I think this deck has, at least this card, is it really needed to maybe be an Ace Digimon. As strange as it sounds, one of the main benefits you can do now, thanks to the EX4 support, is play stuff like Kaiser Nail. And I think that because the support isn't really structured with allowing you to maybe go on top of any of your level 4s or 5s that you so happen to pull out of your sources with something like Zuhamon and stuff like that, I do believe that's where the strategy does kind of suffer, because it really would have benefited from being able to maybe blast Digivolve on top of those pieces, maybe allowing you to use the options on Taumon during your opponent's turn, and maybe using Sakuyamon, which I'm actually shocked isn't an Ace Digimon, because I think it would have been really good to kind of go together with the fact that Mega Gargomon Ace is a obviously an Ace Digimon from the two-player starters, or not the two-player, from the starter set, focusing on Double Typhoon. So I was kind of surprised they didn't go with another Ace Digimon, because I do think Maid Mode has an Ace form. But the point I have here is that the support is actually very, very good, but you could have made it just a little bit better, because I think this deck definitely does deal with one of its other issues, is now that it really focuses on pinning down opponents' boards through its inheritables with the new Renamon and the Cubimon. I really do like that security attack -1, because it does allow your board to kind of stall your opponent while you get up to where you want, because this deck now actually has two main focuses it can specifically do. So the main strategy can either be going wide with your Kazuhamon based strategy, or Kaiser Nail, so building your boards wide, having blocker from Yokomon, but also simultaneously you're able to use your options from these new line to basically either bombard your opponent or quickly digivolve with the use of the plugins, as well as Maid Mode and now Sakuyamons that you choose to play, or Kazuhamon, kind of warping, or not warping, but digivolving between themselves to gain you more advantage and keep on widening the advantage that your deck can now play. So I do think the support is good here. Ultimately, when I think what you could do with it is just simply matching it with the support that already exists. I do think that the fact that they're generic also means there is some room for experimentation. I think the one that probably can see experimentation maybe is going to be the new Talmon, as I do believe that if you're wanting to run maybe a plug-in engine in your deck, or running some type of just yellow deck, you now have a level 5 that can play you options with cost reduced. Although they do have to, I think, be at the 5 cost minimum, you do have this option of just using it as maybe a tech in the future. So, like I said, this is a card that has a lot of future potential. When it comes to what you can do with the support, it's really clear that you can match this with the existing Sakuyamon, Renamon support that's already out there. So I don't really think you need to press very hard on what the deck kind of needs to be in. Yes, they are generic, which is actually a very great thing for, I think, yellow, as even like with the older or the newer support that will be released for like Geogreymon in BT17 as well, that is also generic. So I think it's really good that yellow is getting some more generic cards to utilize, so you do have those as options. One of the things that I do see happening is that you are able to mesh maybe the new cards pretty effectively. The only issue I'm seeing is maybe the RIKA card, because I don't think RIKA is a bad tamer. I think the issue is the best option for this card is to go into maybe a defensive play, and the reason I say that is none of the Sakuyamons have directly aggressive actions. They're more of like reducing DP, maybe netting you cards. Kazuhamon does count as a Sakuyamon, so there are some options there if you want to do that. Maybe the main thing I could see happening for this is that the Tamer is just really good because it gives you another name. So by playing out RIKA, you get additional memory, and this deck really does adore having more memory. So I do think that this is a great choice in order to buff this deck. But pretty much that's all I've got for you guys today. I do think that the brand new Sakuyamon line is definitely worth looking into, because the cards are actually very good for their actual archetype, but generically, these cards have so much more potential. It's just going to take people experimenting and trying them out to see what they can do with it. But as always, this has been Brad from the Ed Army. Obviously, you checked into What's the Scoop for Sakuyamon, and this is the support from BT17. And as always, this is Brad from the Ed Army signing off. And for all of you out there, to sign on.